Steve in Arizona, you're on with V and Shannon.
Hi.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Really good.
Going good. What can we help you with?
Aw.
I love you, Shannon. I've been following you since you kind of started on YouTube. You're awesome.
Thank you. That's so sweet.
Okay. Spider. Damn it. Okay, that was scary. I fucking hate spiders. Sorry, I'm outside gardening. Okay, so quick backstory. I'm a disabled vet. I was living in Phoenix down by the VA. I ended up moving up to Camp Verde because it's kind of like a rural area, and my wife and I were trying to get me away from a catastrophic addiction scene. Mm-hmm. So we moved me up here. Things got really good. We got a house. Her mom helped us. It was awesome. But we're in a very Republican area, and I'm very anti-theist. Like, I think a lot of religion is very, very harmful, especially when you teach it to young kids. Mm-hmm. So when we moved up here, my wife and I talked about it, and it was, okay, we're going to go to a church service. And I was like, cool, I'll go with you guys. I want to participate and see what it's all about and make sure that, my kid's not learning some weird crap. So I went to this Easter service, and it was the most harmful young earth creationist stuff I've ever heard. Wow. Like atheists are horrible. They can't be saved. They're all going to hell. And this was at like an Easter service. And I was like, what the hell? That's not what this is supposed to be about. Mm. So my wife is from up here. And one of the things that we have agreed on is that, she can take him to service here and there. She can, whenever she goes, because she doesn't go all the time. So it's like once a month she's going, and I'm like, okay, what's the harm? He can go color at Sunday school. Now she wants to send him to a Bible camp for a week. And it's a young earth creationist one. And I'm not wanting him to go. I mean, he is very science literate. He loves science. He watches YouTube science stuff all the time. We talk about it. I do astronomy stuff. So he's very invested in learning science. Mm-hmm. But I don't want it to become polluted with whatever the hell this church is going to teach him.
Right.
And I'm very concerned about his mental and emotional status towards that. Mm-hmm. And I really don't want to screw up my kid. So I'm wondering, Shannon, from a psych point of view, do you feel that this, I don't even know how to phrase it, like, is this going to be harmful? Do you think that him going every summer is one of these things is more dangerous than not? Because, I mean, you also run the risk of, the pedophilia stuff that goes on within organizations, not just like this, but like Boy Scouts, and where they go away for a week and you hear all those horror stories. Like, I don't know if this is a good idea. And my wife and I are always very open with each other, but this is something really important to her because she went as a kid all the time. But now it's different. It's run by different people. So what do you suggest? Where do you think I should try to steer this? Like,
what does your kid want to do?
Well, of course the kid wants to go and play. And that's generally,
So it was presented to him before the decision was made between the two of you?
I'm sorry, I missed that first part.
So was it presented to him as something that he was going to do before the two of you had a conversation about whether or not you'd agreed upon sending him? Okay. So that adds a degree of complexity from a psychological perspective, because he's not looking at it from the same perspective as you because he's a kid, right? Yeah, so you're right. He does. He wants to go and play.
Right.
So at this point, if this is already something that he's looking forward to, and you know it is safe, like physically safe. I know you mentioned concerns about pedophilia, but certainly if it's a camp that they should be providing background checks. I don't know if it's different. We're in the state where you're in, but I would look into the background checks of the counselors. Anywhere you send your kid, that's something that I would do, is make sure that they have background checks on file. So if you can alleviate that as a concern, I wouldn't take it away from him at this point in time, because you run the risk of it backfiring and him having resentment towards you for keeping him away from the experience, because he's viewing it as an experience, not as an opportunity for indoctrination. And what I would suggest is instead either presenting an alternative camp, if you and your wife can come to that as a decision, so that he still has the experience of going to a camp, or working on arming him to prepare himself to critically analyze the situation that he's in. We're not going to be able to, in any circumstance, avoid our children being exposed to ideas that we perceive as dangerous. The only way to inoculate children from indoctrination is to arm them with reasoning skills. That's what's important. You're not going to be able to 100% keep him out of environments where people are going to attempt to have undue influence on him. You can't protect him from the existence of those environments. You can arm him to be able to walk through those environments. That's the most important thing. Don't damage your relationship with your son over a camp in a summer. Arm him with information going in. You said he likes science. Talk to him about the science. Go look up what they're going to teach at that camp, and make him the most annoying kid there. Show him the types of things that he's going to be presented with, and teach him how to validate it. It could be an exercise, if approached correctly, in teaching him how to do source methodology, how to analyze claims. And he can still have the experience with his friends without having to resent you, and without you and your wife having to resent each other. They're difficult. It's easy to just think, I should make sure I don't send him. I should damage my relationship potentially with him and my wife to protect him from this. But protecting him from the world isn't keeping him out of the world. It's arming him with how to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I didn't think about it that way. Huh. I guess a secondary concern to that would be when, like, he went to one last year where it was just you take him for like a couple hours, drop him off, and then come back and get him. And I didn't notice it till the very last day of it, but they had like a production they were putting on, and they had people coming out in lab coats talking about the arc and how it's scientific, and I was like, no, it's not. So like that threw me off towards that specific church, which is why
you need to have some talks
no
with your wife if she's continuing to put him in those environments. Like the only reason I'm suggesting maybe send him, and I really do think that you guys need to talk about it, is because it's already been presented to him as something that he's excited about, and he's going to have the memory of that being taken from him, attached to you and your relationship, and he doesn't have the reasoning skills right now to understand why that's going to be taken from him. So better communication between you and your wife might be something that's paramount with regards to when these decisions are being made, when they're going to be presented to him. And if they're being presented to, if there's two parents that don't agree on something, and one parent tells the child, hey, we're going to go do this thing, even though they know the other parent didn't agree to it, you're essentially weaponizing that child's excitement at that point. And that's something that I would potentially have a conversation with your wife about.
Yeah. I don't think she was
might not have been intentional, but that's the result.
Yeah, it wasn't. She wasn't trying to like undermine me. We're very open with our comment. It's very weird. She was very Christian. Her father very devout, and then in the end of his life, we had him staying with us, and he had become so over atheists that he went to the other side and was watching Ancient Aliens and
Oh, wow.
shows and UFOs. And like my wife flipped out. She was like, I cannot believe that my father, who raised me to, she wrote the Bible as punishment several times, is now not only in your camp, but all the way to the other side.
Oh gosh, yeah. At that point, it just kind of wraps back around again.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it really did.
Steve, I think that focusing on your kid and his expectation and what he's looking forward to is very important. Like Shannon said, I would ask that maybe a productive way to move this conversation forward might be, hey, I agree. I think he should have a great experience. I think that he should be around other kids and be able to look back on it with fondness. Let's pick a different camp.
Right.
Camp Quest is do you know about Camp Quest?
No.
Camp Quest is a science-based summer camp for kids run by secular humanists. And it's all over the US. And they do all the same kinds of fun things. They go outside, they camp, they do all of the stuff. But they learn about science, like actual science. So maybe a way to maybe get the kid out of the house and give your wife some time to chill, if that's part of the conversation, or make sure that the kid still feels like make sure that the kid still feels like they've got the experience that they were excited about. It might just be the next step might be saying, okay, I agree with you. I want the kid to have this experience. I think that educational camps are great. I don't like this one. Let's pick something else. Hey, here's Camp Quest. This is awesome. Why not try this instead?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
If that alternative is available,
and this
then you can shift his excitement.
Yeah.
Instead of just robbing him of
and just
the
to
excitement.
clarify, this isn't for this summer. Like we're on lockdown.
Right.
Arizona.
That was going to be the last question I had. It's like for later, right?
You have lots of time to go through camps then. Who needs to make a decision now?
Yeah.
You got some time, and this will be good. I think talking about the choice of camps is probably the best next step to make sure that the kid still gets what he's looking forward to next year, especially if he's like cooped up in lockdown. Like that's got to be very exciting to think about a potential summer camp later on in next year. But yeah, I think doing everything you can, if that church makes you uncomfortable, if that group makes you uncomfortable, and you say you're open with your wife, talk about it, and say, hey, I'm down for this. Let's pick an alternative.
Yeah, especially since it sounds like his interests don't lie in the church. His interests lie in scientific education. So it sounds like that would be a better alternative for him and maybe something he'd be more excited about. And then you could avoid the indoctrination aspect of it entirely, which would be my goal. It sounds like yours.
Yeah, exactly. Because, adults telling kids something to believe, just my wife can't understand that part. So we have arguments over that all the time.
Yeah.
But
it doesn't even need to be an argument about
check out
religion. It
Camp
can be a discussion about what he would enjoy the most.
Yeah. No, that's a great idea. I'll have to look up Camp Quest. So, I'll let you guys go on to your next call. Thank you very much for talking to me. And Shannon, I love you. V, you're awesome.
Thanks, Steve.
You're clear as spiders.
Spider
free. Right. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye. See you, Steve.
Bye.
That would be me. I'd call him spider.
Too funny.